afternoon, South Africa. Welcome to Afternoon Express. The weekend is done. Monday is here, and I hope you guys are feeling very productive today because the show's going to be awesome.
Are you feeling productive today?
I'm feeling very productive.
Well rested?
Good, lots done. I flew from the Durban auditions for Presenter Search on 3.
How were those?
Oh my gosh, Durban, you've got so much talent. It was so cool.
Awesome.
So much
but
joy
that's
and
not what he
happiness.
said about you behind the scenes, so it's changing it now.
Social media has a way to make sure that the truth comes out, right?
Absolutely.
Listen, social media has been in the global spotlight over the last month or so surrounding the Facebook scandal, and people are starting to wake up to the importance of being responsible with the posts that they put online.
Absolutely, and uploading anything to the internet comes with a host of legal and psychological risks and implications, whether it's a selfie of you with your girlfriends or something as simple as a status update. Once it's on a public platform, you no longer have control, and in light of this, we've invited a range of experts in social media to join us.
Indeed, we'll be looking at the psychology of social media addiction, as well as the legal implications of social media in the workplace. If you want to join that conversation, then I really encourage you to do so. You can head over to our platforms where we're asking you, how many times do you check your social media a day? You can tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express or comment on our Facebook page. It's going to be a very vital conversation to be had. We'll also be opening up the phone lines to any of you who have questions for our experts.
How many times do you check your social media a day?
I don't even think I'd be able to work it out. I don't know. It's just kind of like
It's
an
just a lot.
in-between thing.
It's a lot.
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm addicted. I'll find out today, I guess.
Joining us first is a woman who has made social media her life. Fashion and beauty blogger and social media influencer Nadia Jaftha has 150,000 Instagram followers, and every day she keeps her fan base up to date with what's happening in her life. Living in the public eye has its fair share of pressure, but with her light-hearted comedic approach, she takes it all in her stride.
Hey guys! Guys, I know, like, you guys think I'm perfect. I know, but I just want to show you guys that I'm not perfect, you know? Like, what is this, guys? This thing is just living here. It's not paying rent, you know? I'm just falling apart, guys. I don't know what's happening. My hair is so oily, I just had to braid it back. My eyebrows, it literally looks like a butterfly is about to fly out of my face, guys. It's a caterpillar. I can't, guys. I'm just falling apart. Okay. Nobody's perfect, guys. Okay, bye.
Welcome, Nadia.
I'm glad you can laugh at your own stuff. Oh my God.
You're one of the internet's sweethearts. But do you find that people respond really well when you're self-deprecating, when you can laugh at yourself?
No, definitely. Everybody wants to be able to laugh at themselves. I think I just make it easier when they can laugh at me.
Obviously, you produce a lot of content that's got the real South African, behind it. You're always thinking about, what are my people going through? What am I going through that's real and authentic? I think that's kind of what broke you into the limelight. How do you keep up with trying to maintain that sort of presence of trying to produce content for people who are always looking for something new from you?
I don't know. I think I just think, okay, what's going on in my life right now? How can I add humor to it? And then I just post about it, online. Somewhere across the spectrum, someone will be able to relate to it, which I think is amazing.
You open up quite a bit on your social media platforms. Do you ever fear that you're exposing too much about your life, or you're putting you and your family at risk?
I do have some family members that have requested to stay out of it.
Oh.
Like my older brother and, my younger sister. It gets a bit tricky for them because they didn't ask to be in it. So when they're in public and they get asked to take pictures with strangers, then my brother still was like, no. No, thank you.
It was that fun video I did once with my sister.
Yeah, and he was just in, I think, a few videos in the beginning on my YouTube channel, and so many people recognized him.
We understand your sister also started getting
my younger sister,
worrying messages and DMs.
Yeah, my younger sister, she doesn't really want to be in the spotlight at all. So it gets a bit tricky when I post about it, and then she asks me sometimes, please don't tag me, or please don't, because she gets strangers messaging her trying to get to me. Because I can't respond to every single DM. Yeah, that's my sister.
So tell me more about that.
I can see why strangers would be DMing.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
Both of you are incredibly beautiful people. So you must get some really strange things. I think, especially in the world that we live in today, social media has made it so much easier for people to say what they think and to ask for what they want. And it's a really difficult space to be. I don't know you want to know what's going on in your DMs at the moment.
I can't even look at them myself sometimes.
What's the craziest stuff that comes through there?
I think someone messaged me asking if she could be my flatmate. because she's moving down from Joburg. So she
gosh.
asked, can I come live with you? I'll pay rent. Like,
That's a reasonable request to DM someone.
But yeah,
I mean, I could be the psycho.
but in terms of the actual like real the dark side
Yeah.
of the internet, is there some stuff that you receive that is disturbing that actually in fact could probably be deprecating for that individual as well?
Yeah, no, sometimes I do worry about the person sending it because not more concerning for me, but just, you know, are they okay? I know it seems weird, but when someone sends me something nasty or something weird, I kind of just ask myself, is this person okay? To be sending me this, I hope
Must
they're
be
okay.
going through a lot, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll respond sometimes and I'll be like, whatever you're going through, I hope that you're okay.
Yeah.
And then 9 out of 10 times, they'll apologize to me.
Yeah.
So.
Sure.
And obviously, as your social media followers grow and your numbers grow, brands get attracted to you as an influencer and they see your page as a platform for their brands.
Yeah.
Does that limit somehow how you post? And does that kind of start to change the way in which you post because you are more aware of the fact that you're representing somebody else?
Yeah.
So.
At the same time, I'm representing a brand, which is myself. So when these companies do ask me to post something, I try and keep it organic as possible. So the companies approaching me, they know what I'm about, what I stand for. So it's nice when they kind of can line themselves up with that. And the most unassuming of brands you would have never guessed would, you know, be interested in working with me, but it's because they want that authenticity to shine through their brands.
Absolutely.
Speaking of authenticity, what I find so interesting about the online space, I mean, we've all played in it before, and you kind of get a sense that the self that you put out there is the self that you want to be projected as okay and fine and right, and you try to break that boundary down. But is there a difference in persona between Nadia Jaftha as the person and Nadia Jaftha on Instagram and YouTube channel?
I definitely think it's just an extension of myself, you know, the person I am, like I am in person. I'm comfortable, I can be that crazy, loud, like the sin person. And then when I'm not really comfortable, I can be the shyest, you know, most nervous person ever. So it just depends on my environment. Obviously, when I'm alone or with comfortable people and shooting content, I'm comfortable. So it will come across that way, you know. But when I'm in big surroundings of a lot of people that I don't know, I can kind of just hold back. I think that's normal.
One of our viewers who was very excited about you being on the show today tweeted me a question that they wanted to know. They wanted to know if they're interested in becoming an influencer, how do they start to position themselves in a way where they can actually start earning money? And what are the tips and what are some of the challenges?
I think like when you first start out, I think with anything, if you start in a business, especially when you're leaving your 9 to 5, you need to invest in yourself to a certain extent. You know, so if you're interested in maybe becoming a food vlogger, maybe go spend a little bit of extra money like on the food and then, you know, create the content so that those brands can see what you're creating and think, hey, maybe this person can do some content creation for me. So it's all about showing them what you could do with their brand that's different. That's quite cool. I think that's a good way of looking at it.
And do you think brands are really, what is, I mean, being an influencer really about? Is it about the originality of the content you're creating? Is it about your personality, or is it an integration of a couple of elements?
It's definitely integration because we're influencers, because these brands fit in with our lives. So we still need to live our lives and incorporate these brands and try and make money through that. You know, if I'm gonna try and portray a different lifestyle and then be posting about brands that don't resonate with that, then people are going to pick that up and you're not going to be
Exactly. So why you've become incredible is because you've continued to post stuff outside of just the branded content, whereas the other influencers and sort of bloggers have tried to build this name for themselves, which is how do I take branded content and turn it into something that people might like?
Yeah, exactly.
It does become inauthentic.
Yeah, and then they're not true to themselves and eventually it starts to show.
Yeah. What do you think is the future of influencers?
I think it's so broad, honestly. I'm so excited. I think more and more people are starting to see it as an actual profession. So my parents, they didn't understand it at all, and now they're going to tell my grandchildren, you should become an influencer. So I'm quite excited with that,
Awesome.
That's awesome. Well, we're very proud of you and the work that you're doing.
Much.
Like I said, I don't even want to know what's going on in your DMs at the moment and the kind of interaction that you're getting.
DMs.
But you have a really strong way of having to deal with that kind of stuff, because I'm sure you must get a lot of hate as well as all the positive stuff as well too. So,
but I try and see it, you know, when we get a lot of compliments and everything, we tend to overlook it, and as soon as we get one negative, thing that someone says about us, then we expand that. So I try and focus more on the positive feedback than the 2 or 3 people that message me
that is
every
very
hour.
wise.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
It's
It's not that bad.
Just counting those likes. Just counting those likes.
I mean, there is a ratio, and I guess that's part of the
Absolutely.
point. Honestly, if you guys have questions for Nadia, she's not going anywhere on the show, so please do give us a call, 021 430 9881, 021 430 9881, as we focus the show today on social media.
Yeah, and make sure you join the conversation by heading over to our social platforms. As you mentioned, how many tech tunes or how many times do you check your social media?
How many people tune you on your social
media? How
media?
many times do you count your likes a day? We'll be right back. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Thank you so much for joining us. Durban had their chance this last weekend in the third leg of the Presenter Search on 3 auditions, brought to you by Capitec and Mac Cafe. Hundreds of presenter hopefuls turned up for their shot at stardom. We're getting closer and closer to finding the next face of SABC3. But the auditions aren't over yet. The next auditions will be taking place this weekend in Joburg at the Wanderers Cricket Stadium on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Yes, that's 3 days of auditions will be held in Johannesburg. Gates open at 8 a.m, so be sure to get there early. All you have to do is register at the gate and prepare a short link that will show the judges that you are ready to be the new face of SABC3. For all the audition details and what to expect on the day, you can visit presentersearchon3.com.
Step into the spotlight as South Africa's next TV superstar with Presenter Search on 3, proudly brought to you by Capitec and Mac Cafe.
Own the SABC3 stage as the newest host of top billing Afternoon Express or the Expresso Morning Show.
This is your last chance to be found on 3 at the Johannesburg auditions taking place on the 20th, 21st and 22nd of April at the Wanderers Cricket Stadium.
Visit presentersearchon3.com for more details.
With SABC3,
the stage is yours.
Right, so we're back on the couch. Now, earlier on we chatted to Nadia Jaftha, one of South Africa's most beloved social media superstars. And it's time now to turn our conversation towards the work environment. Did you know that what you post on your social and personal social media platforms can get you fired? Well, we often forget that sites like Facebook and Instagram are public platforms, and what we share online can be traced back to us.
Absolutely, but just as we have responsibilities online, so too do our employers. Companies need to have proper social media policies in place to protect themselves and the people who work for them. We're joined now by legal expert Louiza Antoinaiades. Welcome to the Love.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So let's begin this conversation by maybe starting with the employer's rights in the scenario. What are employers allowed to and not allowed to do when it comes to online communication?
Well, firstly, the first thing to have in place, as you said, is a social media policy that also covers the employer as well as the employee. It's the best thing to have in place over and above an employment contract. So what it basically states is it puts in there, makes it aware for the employees as to what they can and cannot do while at work.
Okay.
We all seem to forget, we all want to look at our Facebook, our Instagram while we're at work, but at the same time, we are using our employer's equipment, which is the laptops, the Wi-Fi, etc. So what it is that they can look at is, obviously, if your platform is on a general setting or not on
public
a private
setting,
public setting, I always tell everyone, keep everything private. It's the most important thing to do.
So you can block your employer.
You can't really, you can block them, but not really in a sense.
Yeah.
So because you must remember, your Facebook is still open, even just your gender, all of those things, your interests show what type of person you are. And if obviously you have a co-worker that you are friends with on social media, which most of us are, then they can obviously tell the employer what you are also doing or what you are doing, as in
take screenshots as well.
Exactly, bringing the company's name into disrepute, the certain things that you're saying, because at the same time, the company has a right to know what you are doing during their hours that they're employing you.
May an employer hack into your social accounts to find information?
No, they may not hack into it. The ECP, or Electronic Communications Policy, will state in there that they can monitor or intercept, but not actually go in and hack and ask you for your details to actually log into your Facebook or into your Instagram. So they can look at your online persona, and they can also see how many emails you are sending to people that are not part of the company. So if you are sending to a vast number of people that are not work-related, it's all, private emails, they can also say to you, what are you doing during this time that you actually meant to be working? Because now you are giving us less productivity, which obviously costs the business. And that's not good for an employer. And at the same time, an employee has a right also to their own privacy online.
When it comes to freedom of speech, what are the limitations involved for an employee?
Okay, well, as we all know, we've got our famous Constitution, and there is a limitation clause, as you say. So we have a right to freedom of privacy and also freedom of speech. But of course, you need to be careful what you say. When you need to make sure that what you are saying is not harmful to your company. You are not portraying, say now your company is an animal, I'm just going to make up an example, just say they are big into animal rights, and then you post all these things about hunting, expose, and then it doesn't show that you are
aligned
in the same,
aligned with their values.
Exactly.
But beside that, you mentioned limitation as a big thing. The interesting conversation to be had here was that you may waive your rights to privacy if you're posting on a public platform. So you may say, like, I've got the right to privacy, but you've posted something on a public platform, it no longer is a private matter any longer.
Exactly.
And second of all, obviously, when it comes to waiving those rights, you cannot weigh up two different rights against each other. So your company's right to have an employee, respect their property cannot be outweighed by sort of my right to privacy.
So you have to measure the two together, obviously. And at the same time, like they say, once you've entered into the digital world, and especially when you have an employer, you need to realize that those go hand in hand with one another. And obviously, you need to make sure that that private space becomes blurred.
Exactly.
So unfortunately, you need to think correctly before you actually do
And people have been fired for this.
No, they have. They definitely have. The CCMA have had plenty cases
Absolutely. And not only just fired, but I think people are unaware of the cumulative effect of their virtual body or their virtual presence online, and how when a potential employer looks at your digital footprint, what are some of the things they could find that could work against you?
Well, obviously, there's plenty of things, because they'll see how you portray yourself on your images that you post, of course.
Or
and
how you portray your past employers.
Exactly. So, there's certain things. I mean, even though you won't know if they've actually looked at you, you wouldn't know if they've looked you up. But at the same time, rather keep things as private as you can. Stick to just having your profile picture up. what may be your gender. That's it, basically.
Yeah.
Don't actually go and put everything out there that they can see and make an
I've seen in South African's common law, in the actual cases that have come out, that people have also had screenshots taken of private conversations on WhatsApp, on other profile platforms, and that's also implicating, because if somebody finds and takes a screenshot of it, even in your private circles, and gets it to your employer, you're still culpable.
Exactly.
And same time also with all other kind of communication platforms, it doesn't have to only be private stuff or public posts that get you fired. Even your private conversations are monitored.
It can be all monitored, as in, like you say, passed on. And then, as you saw, that's happened to quite a few people on WhatsApp group chats and all of that.
And what's also getting really worrying is there are a lot of spy apps now available where people can use spy apps to spy on your personal conversations or the vicinity that you're in. And how does one protect themselves?
But you see, something like that, we have also like the RICA, the Interception and Monitoring Act, as well as your POPI, your Protection of Personal Information and that. And also, if you find, obviously, if you can find that your employer or someone has actually been doing that without your consent, that is an infringement on your privacy, as well as they can be fined for that. And it can become a criminal offence that someone has done it without your consent. Whereas, like I say, when you have an ECP in place, you have to make sure that the employees are aware of the policy, the reasonableness of the policy, as well as the consistency. Because obviously what you do for one, you must do for the other employee. And then obviously if they have not given consent as in not to monitor your every aspect of what you are doing, but reasonable aspect that would affect the workplace.
Working relationship.
And also, like I try to say to my clients as well, you need to remember that Facebook or social media is like a billboard on a busy highway. If you are willing to put everything out there about yourself, then why aren't you letting people actually basically judge you on what you've put out there?
What you're putting out,
Thank you very much. I think if I've learned anything, it's number one, companies need to have these policies put in place. If you don't have one as a corporate, do it right now.
Yes.
And the second one is, as employees, make sure that you do know those policies.
And you do have rights.
Yeah, you do have rights and do know what those are. Thank you for
Wonderful,
coming to
thank
join us.
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
So don't forget to head over to our social platforms and let us know, how many times do you check social media a day? Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page. Plus, if you want to share your thoughts live on the show, then call us please on 021 430 9881.
Indeed. So coming up after the break, we're joined by clinical psychologist Dr. Evelyn Beneke to look at the darker side of social media addiction and the psychological issues associated with it. Don't go anywhere.
Get a taste of the smooth island life and win big with Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives. Buy a Tropica, follow the entry details on the pack, and you could win daily airtime prizes, Daniel Klein watches, American Tourista luggage for your next adventure, vouchers from loot.co.za to shop the hot daily deals online, and the grand prize of a Kia Picanto. For competition T's and C's, visit tropica.co.za. And don't forget to watch Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC3.
Well, welcome back to Afternoon Express on this Monday afternoon. We're live on SABC3 and we hope you're catching up with us on all of our social platforms. Hashtag Afternoon Express or giving us a call live 021 430 9881 because we're having fascinating conversations about social media.
Absolutely, and it's a cruel contradiction though that as society becomes more connected through social media, individuals can start to feel more isolated.
Indeed. Social anxiety and loneliness can be amplified when one is consistently exposed to everyone else's so-called perfect life. So we're joined now by clinical psychologist Dr. Evelyn Beneke on the couch to chat more about this. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
What an interesting topic to unpack today. Where do we even begin?
Well, yeah.
Please unpack that for us, that the idea that as we become more connected and we're more readily able to talk to each other, we become more
It's
isolated
what they call
and
an
lonely.
oxymoron. It's not real, is it? It's the false sense of connection. But in reality, there's no connection. Even the term social network, it's a network, but it ain't social. It is just a collection of people who are on devices, but there's nothing real there. It's empty. Unfortunately, however, I just want to say, you know, in her defense, somebody like your superstar earlier has made a massive success of promoting her brand, and there's a lot to be said for that. But people like that are in the minority. And so the aspiration to do that is unrealistic for a lot of people and leads to devastating failure and a sense of inadequacy. Not good.
I'm keen to know what the actual research is trying to say, because I mean a lot of our youth are suffering from anxiety and depression. Has become a really big thing. But is the research, is the research showing that there's something called social media anxiety? Is it caused by social media, or is it peripheral things about bad parenting? And
no, it's caused by social media because of the isolation and because of the inability to communicate normally through words and to read emotional cues. You know, kids these days and adults, for that matter, are becoming blunted. They can't read subtleties in communication. Dreadful. What is more troubling, in South Korea has now been discovered that it's a subtle form of brain damage. So the left hemisphere, look, we don't like to talk about hemispheric specialization anymore. It's sort of an old concept. But in reality, the left hemisphere is used so much more than the right hemisphere, significantly impairs creativity in young people. So much so, after 8 hours, 8 hours is a long time of being on your device, but after 8 hours, kids can't remember their address, their telephone number, and their middle name.
Wow. And it also erodes emotional intelligence.
It indeed does. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can't read subtleties. You can't, suss out people. You basically are becoming dumbed down to such an extent.
Yeah. Is that endorphin-based? I mean, pornography does something very similar to the brain, which means it excites the brain so much that anything else isn't as exciting any longer in terms of people's personal relationships. No. Is it just the overstimulation of information and knowledge and pictures?
Yes, correct. It's just extra. It's just too much. It's not like pornography, because pornography, every time you are stimulated, it's not an extension of, it's new. So it's
this
not
is just an overstimulation of information, knowledge, pictures.
And it is on a continuum. It continues. Pornography does not. Once you're not watching it, you're not aroused. You forget about it. Not so with...
And I do believe that people need to consistently do some introspection and just check themselves. And what are some of the signs one can look out for, or symptoms that you're now addicted and you're in a dangerous space?
So the first thing is that you can't control it. It's involuntary. You might want to, but you can't. The second thing is an elevation in mood, that you feel so much better when you are on your device than when you're not. It is not something that is under conscious control. You can try as you might, but you'll be on that device so quickly if you just get a sense that somebody's trying to contact you. Aside from that, there are withdrawal symptoms. It really is an addiction. And furthermore, there's going to be relapse.
Okay, I see.
So it meets all the clinical criteria for addiction.
What do parents do? Because parents are obviously panicking. I'm a young adult now thinking of parenthood at some point in my near future, and I've got to really be concerned about raising children in this day and age. What do parents do?
Limit the time.
Really? Even though the
boundaries.
world's moving more into the space, it almost feels like an irresponsible thing
You
to say.
definitely have to limit it. I'm a mom, and I
Yes,
see how
yes.
I got worried the other day. We were out for lunch,
Yes.
and all the kids were playing, and we were having lunch, and suddenly my son said, "I need a device. Where can I find a
Wow.
device?" And I was like, "Oops, okay."
Yeah, there's a problem.
Maybe we've spent too much time on social media this week, or sorry,
Yes,
on a
yes,
screen, looking at a
yes,
screen.
yes, indeed.
But you know, something I've found also about social media is you might get on it and feel an instant high or some kind of gratification, but
Yes.
there seems to be a downer that comes
That's very
after
true.
looking at all these people's lives and comparing your own. And
Odious.
what are some of the thoughts that go through people's
Comparison is
minds?
odious. I mean, that's just the worst thing, this FOMO. You are not losing out, you know.
Yeah.
You have to find a magnificent object in your life, not focus on FOMO.
Yeah.
Look outside, be still, be quiet, be still within yourself, connect with, go for a walk, connect with a human being. Basic things that we are losing touch with. It is worrying.
Is it one thing that worries me is that this sounds like an old school conversation around this topic, because
yes.
things are not going to get less social media; they're going to get more social media,
true.
more digital. So we've got to find ways to deal with it in the space,
That's
not
very
remove
true.
it.
That's very true. But I think it's our attitude to it. I think it's too frenetic and it's too desperate.
Yeah.
You see, underlying it is really a need for approval and attention. I'm not saying it's the case with everybody. Somebody who has a brand and is already successful, they're not looking for attention to the same extent as somebody who's really lonely, and this is the only way they're going to get any connection with another human being. So, you know, we can't generalize. But in general, one has to start to just get a realistic grip on this thing and understand you're still a human being connecting with other human beings. So I think the way to go is to introduce more feeling-based, more apps.
Tangible experiences.
Yes, indeed. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And more apps that are geared towards reading people's facial expressions, trying to understand people from an emotional point of view. I think that will correct the balance.
I see. So it's
Because
using technology, but in the right space.
absolutely,
Okay.
yes, indeed so.
I see. Thank you
Yeah.
very, very much. This has been very insightful.
Yeah, and we're going to be chatting to you a little bit later as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure you join the conversation by heading over to our social platforms again, where we're asking you, how many times do you check social media a day? Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express, or comment on our Facebook page, or you can call us live, please, on 021 430 9881.
Yeah, perhaps you're addicted and want to share those stories with us. I would love to hear from you. And now that you've heard from the guide dogs for the blind, but did you know that dogs can help people with a host of other chronic illnesses as well? You better stay right where you are, because we have a very special guest with us in the loft today, a talented young little professional who helps in that exact same field. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're live on SABC3 and having some fascinating conversations today. As you know, we have two new loving members in our family, one of them obviously being Donut, our furry babies Baxter and Donut. Now, besides watching their journey on the show, you can see more of these two by following them on Instagram. You can head over to Instagram and search The Adventures of Donut and The Adventures of Baxter for a closer look at their lives, both in and out of studio.
They're cute, they're cuddly, and they're TV stars. Baxter and Donut, the adorably fluffy four-legged members of the Afternoon Express family, are sharing their daily adventures on social media. To see what Baxter and Donut get up to behind the scenes, follow The Adventures of Baxter and The Adventures of Donut on Instagram.
So we continue our conversation on the show today, and it's such a cool chat to be able to have, to see what it is that animals are able to do in our lives. Guide dogs have been around for years, helping blind people navigate in the world. But did you know that our four-legged furry pals can help people with a host of different chronic conditions like type 1 diabetes, epilepsy, and hearing loss? Just Dogs Behavior is a company working to introduce medical alert dogs for people with chronic medical conditions. And today we are joined by Lucy and young Zara, the super dog. Welcome to the loft, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
So let's talk a little bit about, what service dogs are and medical assisting dogs do. Tell me about that whole process.
Okay, so Zara in particular is trained for diabetic alert, which means that she is paired with a family with a diabetic person, type 1 diabetes. If their blood sugar drops below or above a certain level, then she's taught to give an alert behaviour to let that person know that they're going into a dangerous space, so they need to adjust.
How do they know? How do the dogs know?
It's all by scent, so we imprint them in on the scent of a low blood sugar or a high blood sugar. And they're taught to smell their person at all times and know what's going on there.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to kind of figure out, what does low blood sugar smell like?
It's a range of compounds. It obviously doesn't smell like anything to us, but their noses are so much more powerful than ours. They can smell at 1 part per trillion, which is a drop of blood on a rugby field. So, yeah, compared to us, we wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't even notice.
No.
How do you go about training a dog to pick up signs like that and to learn those scents?
So we imprint them on the scent. So the scent is a saliva scent from diabetic donors, and we teach the dogs that when they smell that scent, it's the best thing in the entire world. And then we obviously have to work on their training around it quite extensively so that they're able to concentrate on their specific person when there's other things going on, when they're in a busy place or at school or work with their owner. They have to be able to focus on that person.
Yeah, I'm sure. So if somebody is looking for a medical alert dog, what is the process that they can go through in order to obtain one?
They can go for our website. It's medicalertdogs.co.za. Our NPC is Honey's Gardens. We are a charity as well. It costs a lot of money to train the dogs, but they would send us an email and we'd send them the information, make contact that way and find out what kind of dog would suit their lifestyle, because we have to match the correct dog to the correct family as well.
Yeah, awesome. Obviously all these details will be on our website as well, afternoonexpress.co.za. But you mentioned obviously that we've got a type 1 diabetes service dog here, but then what other kind of illnesses can we get dogs to train to, be part of and assist with?
There's a whole range. So we also do seizure response dogs, which is for people with epilepsy or other types of seizures, where the dog won't necessarily detect that a seizure is going to happen, but they'll respond when one does. And through doing that, they start to pick up small changes in the person's body language that allows them to detect it. But to train them to detect it is extremely difficult.
I'm sure.
So we teach them to go find help or to put deep pressure therapy on a person, to lick their fingers and toes to bring them back around faster. We've had amazing results with it. There's hearing dogs for deaf people to let you know when the doorbell's ringing or the kettle's boiled, whatever. Post-traumatic stress dogs and other types of therapy dogs. Dogs can just help in so many ways.
Sure, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's so interesting to see that our conversation today on the show has been about social media and focusing on how we should spend more time outdoors and in the environment, and to know exactly this is the reason why you cannot replicate a dog like this to be able to, support people with, life-threatening diseases and illnesses as well in these kind of scenarios. So a beautiful, beautiful way to be able to get this kind of support. And if you perhaps are somebody or somebody who is looking for a support dog, you can go to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, to find all the details. They will all be there for you. Over to you, Bonnie.
So as the saying goes, three's a crowd, and if you've been watching Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives, you'll know that we're now down to the final 3 teams. But no celebrations yet, as the teams have 3 exciting challenges ahead of them for the final bounty. This week's bounty prize includes the chance to bring another team with them on their experience, leaving the last team behind.
Tonight on Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives, the contestants set their sight on the final bounty and shoot for their place in the grand finale.
And we're starting to shoot and it just keeps on coming back.
Well, the wind did what it needed to do. How about that?
Oh, now how do we do this? What the hell? The game is not over until it's over.
Catch season 8 of Tropica Island of Treasure tonight at 7:30 on SABC3. The stage is yours.
Will the teams form a strategy to take it to the final 2? Well, let's wait and see. It's not to be missed. Tune in tonight for season 8 of Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives at 7:30 p.m. right here on SABC3.
Get a taste of the smooth island life and win big with Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives. Buy a Tropica, follow the entry details on the pack, and you could win daily airtime prizes, Daniel Klein watches, American Tourista luggage for your next adventure, vouchers from loot.co.za to shop the hot daily deals online, and the grand prize of a Kia Picanto. For competition T's and C's, visit tropica.co.za. And don't forget to watch Tropica Island of Treasure Maldives every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC3.
Searching for your dream home can be a daunting experience, especially if you aren't clued up about the world of property. Now, it might seem even harder when you put into consideration all the things that are involved in buying your very first home, which is exactly why Private Property has teamed up with the Property Buyer Show to give you all the information that you need to know exactly when purchasing your property. Joining us today are Richard from the Property Buyer Show and James from Private Property with all the reasons on why you should check out this year's amazing show. Gents, welcome.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. So let's first begin with why this event is such an important part for South Africans, especially when trying to plan buying your first property.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, buying a property is quite an intimidating process for a lot of people. It's the biggest investment that they might make in their life, and they've generally got a lot of questions around that process. So the Property Buyer Show aims to answer some of those questions, whether it's buying your first home or an investment property. And we do that. It's a place where people can get advice, they can ask questions, and they can compare different options and in a relaxed, informal environment.
Love it, like a one-stop shop to be able to ask all the questions you've always wanted to ask about these things without being in a call centre all the time. Obviously, as Private Property, you guys are an online portal, so why engage in events like these?
So basically, as you said, we're a digital portal, so we only interact with our customers virtually. So we get very rare chances to engage with them on a face-to-face basis, which the Property Buyer Show allows us to do. Through this means we can find out about their queries or their limitations that they find with the website, and we can offer advice on how to improve the journey to find their next property.
Nice. And speaking of improvements, obviously this is the second year this is going to be running. Last year was a massive success. So let's talk a bit about what happened then and what's the plan for this year.
Yeah, so last year we delivered the Property Buyer Show in Cape Town and in Joburg. This year we're doing Cape Town, Durban and Joburg. We run 2 theatres, a packed sort of programme of talks aimed at educating. One is for first-time buyers and the second is for property investors. And it's almost a masterclass of buying property. So we'll deliver those 2 theatres again. Our visitors really enjoy the advice, the ability to ask questions to a real person and get an industry expert's opinion. And then for the exhibitors' side, we saw a lot of development investment property actually sell at the exhibition, which was great for them. So this year, bigger and better. As I mentioned, we've got Durban included in the mix this year. And again, it's the educational content and it's the chance to meet the whole one-stop shop of the real estate industry under one roof.
So much more is still to come. Obviously, this year it's going to be a much bigger and better year, but something's also staying the same and clearly added value to Private Property. You guys are involved again this year because it was such a success.
Yeah, so last year was an amazing success. We've got a lot of content that came from there from the consumer side of the business, where we got to engage with them, as I previously mentioned. So this year we're doing much of the same. We'll have interactive TV screens. We'll have a few little giveaways to attract people to our store, to hopefully introduce our new app as well, which is the first of its kind in South Africa. It's like a property feed, which the consumer doesn't have to get constant email alerts. So they can just go onto the app or download the app and they just added to their property feed.
It's so cool. I also played around with it. You can narrow down your searches and only get sent stuff that you want to have a look at. Obviously, push notifications, and it's a free app, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned free things. Are there going to be free things? Because I really only go to events often for free things, and then I end up buying a home at the end. You never know. What kind of free stuff can we expect?
Yeah, of course, people love giveaways. So one of the big banks is doing a really cool promo where you can try and unlock a door, and if you're successful, there's home appliances and all sorts of giveaways on there. And they're also offering some discounts on bond registration costs, which is quite nice.
That is really cool. Yeah, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I guess, because whenever do you get discounts on anything to do with bonds, ever? And then from private property side, you guys have also got some cool giveaways, don't you?
Definitely. So we'll be giving away a tablet device to the value of 5,000 Rand for one lucky winner to go download our app and find their next dream home.
Nice. And that app is so cool. It's so easy to use. You guys can narrow down your searches for what you're looking for. It's free. It doesn't send you any emails. Thank goodness, no more spam, which I love. Now, if people are interested to come along and get involved, where can they find details?
So details are on propertybuyershow.com. Cool. We're this weekend, Saturday 21st and Sunday the 22nd at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. And yeah, hope to see you there.
Well, you never know. I might have a new tablet as well as a new home. You don't have to be extremely rich or old to start thinking about buying property. You will find that it's become a lot easier to navigate the property world thanks to private property and the Property Buyers Show. Gaining knowledge about buying property and why you should start planning to get your own dream property is one easy step away. You visit privateproperty.co.za and propertybuyershow.com for more information.
Remember to connect with us on social media, where we're asking you, how many times do you check social media a day? Tweet us your answer at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express, or please comment on our Facebook page. After the break, we're back with our social media experts to see if you want to add your voice to the conversation. Then call us now on 021 430 9881. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're back on the couch with our social media experts. Today's show has been all about social media and what we need to know with regards to living our lives on public platforms like Facebook and Instagram, not to mention WhatsApp. We're back with influencer Nadia Jaftha, clinical psychologist Dr. Evelyn Beneke, and legal expert Louiza Antoinaiades. If you'd like to join the conversation, then call us now on 021 430 9881.
Yeah, do you guys feel like we should take a phone call first and foremost? So let's cross to you at home. Thanks so much for all the calls that have come through so far. Shanice, welcome to Afternoon Express. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
I'm doing very good, thank you. Who would you like to chat to?
To Nadia, please.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, Shanice?
Okay, I would just like to ask, Nadia, have you always been afraid of being classified as different?
Is that the question?
Yeah, I think that's the question.
I think everyone's afraid to be classified as different. It's your decision whether you decide to own it and make something out of it. But I think when it comes to being different, you're always scared and you are nervous. But if you own that difference and if you own your uniqueness, then I think that's the only thing that matters.
Awesome. Charisse, thanks so much for that phone call. I think we should try and squeeze another one in. Yeah, thanks so much for that phone call. It's really cool to have you on the line with us and to share all those thoughts and opinions. 021 430 9881.
Do we have another caller on the line?
I think we do, indeed. Oh, we don't yet.
Okay.
We're going to get that other caller on the line.
So one of the questions I meant to ask you earlier is people underestimate, people don't think WhatsApp is a social media platform.
Indeed.
And I find WhatsApp to be one of the most demanding platforms.
Yes.
Because you all these demands are coming in, questions are coming in, you have to organize groups and da-da-da-da. And you just feel like, I can't switch this thing off because something important might come through, which is also the underpinning feeling, I guess, of that whole FOMO feeling.
Correct. And it's so accessible. It's just always there.
Yeah.
You know, so one really has to make a conscious effort to switch the thing off for extended periods
of time. Yeah.
Yes.
And some of the people on those groups start chatting at like 6. In the morning.
Yes, it's bad. It's a substitute
so bad.
for other things.
I take time on my aeroplane flights just to reply to all my messages, to kind of reply to them all offline, so that when I get online, they're all replied to, and then I move on, because they can't reply back.
Yeah, exactly.
Final 2 tips from you in terms of trying to deal with the psychology of social media addiction.
Right. I think it's important just to be aware that your mood changes when you're on social media and that you are becoming depressed and down when you're not on it. And point number 2, start interacting with people in a real
context. Okay.
Yes.
Good advice.
Not through a device.
Cool. Good advice. Our attorney, give us the whole lowdown of your top 2 tips from a legal perspective in the workplace.
Well, I would say for employees especially, try not use the employer's equipment. Rather, if need to check on your own device, your own cell phone, obviously. That would also avoid a lot of interception and monitoring. As well as tip number 2 would be careful what you post.
Yeah.
Obviously, just remember that whatever you are posting, make it tasteful. Make sure that it's nothing that can come back to bite you.
Indeed. It's always aligned with company values. And the big one that I've always learned is you waive your right to privacy when you post on social media. I know you've got the Constitution. It will not save you. If you post on social media, you've made it public knowledge.
Yeah. And where people want to start like weaning themselves off social media, what are some of the ways that you suggest?
I suggest starting an hour a day and then increasing it, because just to go cold turkey is going to be too much for some people to manage. For
it's
most
not sustainable sometimes.
No, it's not, because it's so much part of the fabric of our life already. So an hour a day, 2 hours, 3 hours, until a weekend you're totally not switching on.
Nadia, you're nodding and shaking and things. How do you feel about all of this conversation?
Can't relate.
Yeah, really?
I think it's different. For me, it's my business, but I find it difficult to sometimes differentiate between the business aspect and actually just being present somewhere. So I do hear what she's saying, because it's difficult to be present when you are constantly online and seeing what the rest of the world is up to instead of looking at the people right in front of you.
Or feel like you have to document your moment because people want to know about it.
Exactly.
Have the people in your space, your friends, your family, your kin, ever complained that, Nadia, you're always on your phone?
No, I've actually gotten much better with it. So when I have a flip phone, so when I'm in company, I just kind of put it down and I'll only answer like if my mother messages me, because she goes psycho if she can't get hold of me. So I have to have my phone on all the time.
I'm sure, but your friends have been a lot more understanding of that space, but you've had to make a conscious effort to say, this is my time for you and I'm going to put my phone away for this period.
I think I'm lucky because most of my friends are in my space, so it kind of works hand in hand as well.
Yeah. Do you feel lonely sometimes?
Not with my family, no. Okay. My friends, no. I don't feel.
What does the future of social media look like? Do you think all the things we're discussing now are going to get worse? They're going to escalate? Where are we going with this?
It's becoming very grey, unfortunately, that area. There's going to be a lot more problems that are going to come out psychologically as well as the law field, because we do see a lot of things like they forget, because they're online, it's as if that screen is protecting them. They seem to forget that all the laws that protect you off screen protect you while you're online too.
And it's getting younger and younger.
And it's getting younger and younger, and that's the problem.
My biggest frustration as well with social media is that nobody's reading anymore. Everyone's
Yes.
just consuming these bite-sized chunks of information and almost like
Little
just
articles.
binging on it, and then there's no real interaction
I'm
with
done writing
information, and there's
captions.
no
You're just going to double
gathering
tap on the
of
phone.
It's
knowledge.
actually funny because I tweeted yesterday, did anyone read a good book lately? Because I actually want to get a book.
Yeah, exactly.
And the problem is too much fake news. That's the other
Exactly,
thing. You don't know what you're reading, and you're actually reading nonsense half the time.
Yeah.
So and then you go relay that nonsense onto somebody else, and then you sound like a total fool after a while.
Exactly.
Did you hear this and this? And actually, that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
So,
Well, ladies, we have to wrap up the show.
scary.
So thanks so much for coming to share this with us. I think we've just kind of touched the surface of a much bigger conversation. So hopefully on Afternoon Express we'll be able to have more of these chats, and you can continue the conversation at home, obviously. Hashtag Afternoon Express. How are you going to deal with your kids, their kids, when it comes to social media? And what has sort of helped you throughout your own addiction as well? We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. So join us on Afternoon Express's Cook Along tomorrow as we spend the afternoon with funny man Kagiso Lidiga. Plus, we have former MasterChef contestant and restaurateur Abigail Mbalo showing us how to make some delicious lamb wraps.
It's going to be delicious. Have a good afternoon, ladies. And to the rest of you, South Africa, have a brilliant evening. We'll catch you same time, same place tomorrow. Good night and happy
evening.
eating.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Nada. Feel Good production.